Barbecue competitions are one of the premier things you can do in barbecue, and today I decided to have a throwdown on the grilling deck. Today, follow me outside. We're going to be doing some pork spare ribs today, and we're going to be cooking it on 3 different cookers. The first in this corner, weighing at about 160 pounds, we got our Primo ceramic cooker. Over there, weighing at about 165 pounds, I got my Ironwood 650 by Traeger. And third, coming in a little bit small, but still stout, at a hefty 60 pounds, we've got the Pit Barrel cooker. Each of these cook them 3 different ways, and we're gonna have a competition to see which one produces the best ribs. I have not been paid by a single soul to come with the outcome of this video. Whoever cooks the best ribs is just gonna be purely by my own taste buds. Let's get started. Like I said in the intro to the video, we're going to be doing a competition in my own backyard. We've got the Traeger, we're going to bring it up to 250. We've got the Primo, we're going to bring it up to 250. And the Pit Barrel is going to rise somewhere between 250 and 275. And we're going to cook all of these in the way that they were meant to on each of these grills. We're going to make them the same, hopefully kind of keeping it scientific, and we're just going to see how they taste at the end. So we have 3 different beautiful racks of spare ribs. Now I'm going to be using 3 different rubs. First, we're going to be using our Texas SPG by Operation Barbecue as the base. Okay. Next, I'm going to sprinkle some Honey Hog by Meat Church. All right. And third, we're going to go with some Smoky Dust Hog Rub. Now, each of these, I know that may seem like a lot. We're just gonna kind of lightly do it with each one. As we get closer to finishing the cook, I'm not gonna wrap these. We're just gonna do it straight on the grate or hanging in the Pit Barrel cooker. I've got some local Carolina sauce. So first we have some Western North Carolina barbecue sauce, which we're gonna sauce towards the end and then put them back in and kind of let it glaze. And then we have some Edisto Orange, kind of like a tangy South Carolina barbecue sauce. And those are the only 2 sauces we'll be using. So this cook is just going to be purely on taste. We're trying to cook them all at the same temperature, the same way, just on a different grill. And then we're going to see which one kind of produces the best smoke ring, produces the best taste, more flavor, all that kind of stuff. In the Primo, I'm using some 3 chunks of cherry wood. In the Pit Barrel cooker, I'm using 3 chunks of cherry wood. And inside the Traeger, I've got cherry pellets. The thing you want to do with ribs is you want to make sure you have good coverage so that you have each kind of layer of flavor going. So I've just layered on 2, we're putting on the 3rd one now, and you'll see the coverage at the end. We've just finished putting all the rubs on. I didn't use a binder. Usually when I'm cooking rubs, I do like to use a little bit of a mustard or even a mayo as a binder. Some people use honey, I've done that, maple syrup, whatever. But we're just gonna let these season. So we're gonna let this seasoning sit for about 15 to 20 minutes while the grills are still coming up to temperature, and we're gonna let it kind of absorb some of that moisture out. We're gonna let those sugars and that salt kind of pull that moisture out so that it brings it back in when we're finished cooking these. So we're putting that hook in one of these. This one has a little bit more fat on it, and it's gonna hang in the pit barrel cooker, and all that fat's gonna kind of render down a little bit, and it's gonna drip on, kind of creating a steam effect. It's gonna have a convection style airflow going through the pit barrel as well. The Primo, we're just gonna lay them right over the heat deflector plate that I have, and on the Traeger, again, just laying them on the grate. I want to apologize a little bit. We've had some technical difficulties with our sound a little bit, so we had a few strings of video there that have no sound to it, but I want to assure you that we're working on it. But we're about at the 1 hour mark now, and I wanted to check on each of the ribs, just see how they're looking, and then we're going to take our little concoction here of 1 part apple cider vinegar, 1 part apple juice, 1 part orange juice, and we're just gonna, I don't have a sprayer, so we're just gonna kind of drizzle it on there and let it sit. So we take off the lid here, we're gonna hang it on the side. Now to remove the ribs from the pit barrel, they send you a wooden hook or handle, and you wrap it around like this, and then you pull it up. And that's what they're looking like after about an hour in. So I'm gonna take my little concoction here, just kind of drizzle it on top. We're gonna hang it back, and let's step over to the Primo. Now in the battle of the smokers, right? We have the Primo Kamado. Kamados are known for their convection. You can do low and slow to hot and fast and furious. So let's check on them again. Pulling it right about 250. We're gonna burp it. Now you can see here, coming close a little bit, you can see some of that moisture pooling and all that kind of stuff. That looks really good. So I'm going to take our concoction and just kind of drizzle it on there a little bit like so, and close it up. Then we're going to step right over here to the Traeger. See how small my deck is? And we're going to take a look at that next. So let's open it up and see. Traegers are known for their consistency at holding regular temperatures. It's looking beautiful. There's a lot of good color and you know, kind of going on here with that red mahogany color. So again, I'm just going to kind of sprinkle some across it like that. We're going to close it up. I'll do it again in about another hour. We'll check on them again. So we're at the 2 hour mark. I'm checking my invisible watch here, and we're gonna check out each of these, and I think they're probably about ready to sauce even. So we're gonna check out the pit barrel here, which I think the pit barrel has probably been running a little hot. We've got some great caramelization on it. You can still see there's a lot of moisture in there. Got a lot of moisture dripping off there. So I'm gonna go ahead and take these, we're gonna put them over here, and we're gonna sauce them up. So I'm gonna sauce these, I'm gonna lay one and then the other, and we're just gonna use my little brush here to kind of mix it in and get like a good flavor for both. Okay, kind of get like a close-up. So I feel like the pit barrel is probably running a little bit hot, even though I did the door on the bottom like it told me to, just about a 1/4 inch based on my altitude. I just feel like it's running a little hot, so I should have used probably a little less charcoal, which is why we see a little more char on that. It was probably running hotter than it should have been. But it's cooking, the temp is kind of right, so we're gonna let this sit for about 15 minutes and we're gonna check the other ones. So these have a really great mahogany color to it. It's really pretty. We still see a lot of that moisture from when I did that earlier. And if you come around to the back side here, and you can see the bone is pulling away, which means that we're right there. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these off, and I'm gonna sauce these as well. We're gonna let those sit. We just sauced them. They're temping at about 185, 190. So they still have a little bit longer to go. Now we're gonna check on the Traeger and see how those are looking. Now again, we're kind of seeing the same thing with the Traeger here. Great color, that mahogany color. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull these off, and we're gonna sauce these as well. Take the temp, see how they're looking, and then put them back on and let them get that nice glaze on top. So we're gonna let those sit probably until they reach an internal temperature. I'm probably gonna go ahead and pull the ones off the pit barrel because they are done. So we went ahead and pulled off the ribs from the pit barrel cooker, and to say they are a little crispy would be an understatement, but I don't know if that's the cooker's fault or if it's my fault because I may have put too much charcoal in there. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but we're gonna cut into them, see how they look, see if we got the smoke ring, and then we'll go ahead and have the taste. Okay. So we've cut the ribs open, and you can see that we did get a really good smoke ring right in here, and there's still a lot of moisture in there. So even though on the outside they might be charred a little bit, on the inside they came out pretty good, it looks like. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a bite, and then I'll write down my score, what I think of it presentation wise. And you can see here, it did not cut very well. Either that or I just don't know how to cut ribs very well. But I'm gonna go ahead and take a bite, and then I'll write down my score, and we'll go over that at the end of the video. There's a lot of moisture in there. And see, it's pulling away pretty easily from the bone. I have a really good flavor. So I'll score this. We'll let the other ones finish up, and then we'll talk about it at the end of the video. So the Primo ribs are coming up to completion, and let's take a look at them, see what we're looking at here. We got a burp grill first. Beautiful. These look great. So, got a lamb right here. I'm gonna go ahead and shut this grill down because they need to sit for a few minutes, and then we'll take them inside, cut into them. The Traeger ones are still going. Just took the temp on them. They still got a few more degrees to go. So the Traeger's taken the longest to cook, but they look really good as well, almost as good as these. So we'll take these inside, let them rest for a minute, and then we'll cut into them. So these are how the ribs turned out. We have great color on the outside, Still some good moisture on the inside, but not a big pronounced smoke ring like we got from the pit barrel. So presentation, definitely a lot better. It cut easier. We can see that it pulled away from the bone, which is about what you want. So now I'm gonna take a bite and see how it tastes. That's got a lot of moisture in it. A lot of that fat rendered down. And that has some really great flavor. A little bit of a kick from the sauces. Again, the presentation was beautiful. It cooked just about 20 minutes longer than the pit barrel, but I think I had the ones on the pit barrel on 20 minutes too long as well. So while we're waiting for the Traeger to come up to temp on those ribs, we're just gonna let those cook for a little bit longer, and then we'll pull them off and we'll finish this up. Okay, so we've reached the 4-hour mark. The Traeger ribs are done. Let's take a look at them. It's gonna be a little hard to see, but they have some great caramelization on it, some great color. We're gonna bring them inside, and then we're going to let them rest for a minute, cut them open, and see how they taste, and then kind of rate them and talk about the ratings after we're done. So these have been resting for about 10 minutes now, and you can see that they have a beautiful color on them. Now they took about 4 hours to cook, which was about an hour longer than the Primo and about an hour and 40 minutes longer than the pit barrel cooker. And these just look amazing. They have a little, check down here a little bit. You can see that it pulled away from the bone just a little bit right there. And the color looks great. So I'm gonna cut into them and we're gonna check out the smoke ring if there is one, and then we're gonna try the flavor. So we've cut into it, and this is our picture. We have a beautiful smoke ring right there at the top part. We have some moisture in there as well. We have great color on the outside. We got great right there as well, great smoke ring. It has a little bit of a different flavor profile than the other two. Even though it has the same rubs on it and same sauces, that doesn't have as much of a smoky taste as the one from the Primo or the pit barrel did, but it's a little more moist in the meat. So I'll rate these, we'll go over the ratings, and then we'll kind of discuss who came out the champion of the Smoker Barbecue Throwdown. All in all, we spent about 5.5 hours with prep time and cooking and getting the fire started, and getting the grills up to temperature. So I rated them on 3 different levels. The first one was presentation, the second one was taste, and the third one was time. So let's look at the pit barrel first. Now across the bottom of the screen here, by the magic of editing, I'm gonna put my scores up. So we're gonna start with the pit barrel, and we're gonna start at presentation and work our way down. When you looked at the pit barrel ribs, they kind of looked like a hot mess. They did not cut well. I believe this is user error. I don't believe this is the pit barrel's fault. I believe it's my fault because that was my first time cooking on the pit barrel cooker. But the presentation was not good. It was 3 out of 5. When we pulled the Traeger ones off, those were the ones that took 4 hours. I gave those a 4 out of 5. And the Primo, I think, presented the best color and the best looking ribs. So I gave those a 5 out of 5. Now, when it came to taste, again, with the pit barrel cooker, user error, they were charred and or caramelized, and I gave those a 3 out of 5 as well, just because the taste was pretty good, but the charring on the outside really kind of made it a little bitter. The Traeger had the best flavor. It was a different flavor profile. The meat was very moist. It was so good, and it had a great smoke ring to it. The Primo, I gave a 4 out of 5 because even though the flavor was there, the Traeger just outdid it. And then we came to our last category, which was time. And obviously the Pit Barrel Cooker cooked it the fastest. So I gave that a 5 out of 5 just because of the quickness of it. The Traeger, I gave a 3 out of 5 because, or I'm sorry, a 4 out of 5 because it took about 4 hours total cook time, but all I had to do was lay it on there. I didn't have to really touch it. It was easy. The Primo, I gave a 3 out of 5 in the cook time. Just getting the fire going, it's easier to push a button and kind of have it electronically done for you. So it was probably the more work. It was more work than any of the other ones, I believe. But all in all, the Pit Barrel Cooker came in last place with 11 out of 15. The Primo came in second with 12 out of 15. And the Traeger came in first, in my opinion, just on these ribs, with 13 out of 15. So we can say, at least on the grilling deck, when it comes to ribs, the Traeger is the king of the cul-de-sac in my backyard when it comes to cooking ribs, making them taste good, making them look good, and the cooking time. It was super easy. I had a lot of fun today. Let me know what your thoughts were in the comments below. I'm sure I'm gonna hear about how bad those Pit Barrel Cooker ribs were. And make sure, if you like this video, subscribe to our channel because that really helps us out, and we'll see you next time.